This is the second part of the drive through the Yorkshire Dales, photographing old stone bridges and other places of interest. Continuing on from Gunnerside in Swaledale, driving through to Gale in Wensleydale. Gunnerside is an attractive village lying at the heart of the landscape made famous in the TV series All Creatures Great and Small. The beauty of the Dales is well documented in the book by James Harriott. Those were the inspiration for the series. This is the old smithy, and it dates back to around 1795 and is now owned by the sixth generation of the Calvert family to work the forge. The small building contains some historic items from the times when lead mining was an important source of income in the Dales. This is the Gunnerside Institute. It opened in 1870 as the Literary Institute, one of several which promoted reading and education amongst the Swaledale miners and farmers. It now serves as the village hall. That's a very unusual blue-faced clock. The plaque on the side of the bridge states Little Bridge 1911. Time's up. I'm now moving on to the next photographic location, Ivalet Bridge. I'm driving in God's own country, Yorkshire. This is where I turn off the main road and head down to the Ivalet Bridge. I've arrived at the iconic Ivalet Bridge. This single-span bridge over the River Swales dates from 1687 and was an important crossing point on the 16 miles causeway from Muker to the churchyard at Grinton, which was once the only consecrated burial ground in the Dale. The bridge has a Grade 2 listing. I'm going to walk across the bridge and take a look at it from the top and from the other side. This bridge has been much photographed. It's one of the most iconic bridges there are in the Yorkshire Dales. Ivalet Packhorse Bridge. Coming up to the top, I'm going to take a look across into the River Swale and looking upstream. And from this side, looking downstream. Carrying on down to the left-hand side, the opening there is the gate for the pathway, and that's the direction to Muker along the Causeway. Gentleman there having a rest. This stone slab set in the verge beside the carriageway of the bridge is said to have been set there for the purpose of rest in wicker basket containing a body being carried along the so-called Causeway. A headless dog is reputed to haunt the Ivalet Bridge. This is a view of the bridge from another direction. Time to move on to the next place of interest. This is a small stream that feeds into the River Swale, which runs under the Ivalet Bridge. I'm now back on the 6270 heading towards Muker. I'm now approaching the village of Muker, which is in Swaledale. Built on a hillside above the River Swale stands the village of Muker. Home to barely 300 people, the village has changed little in hundreds of years and has attractive slate-roofed cottages. A number of walks from the village cuts through hay meadows, with June being the best time to visit, as that's when you're most likely to see the fields in full bloom. The walk goes through Kidson Gorge and up the valley to Cald. The walk passes 4 waterfalls. Muker is popular for walkers as it lies on the path of both the Pennine Way and the coast to coast. The Muker Literary Institute is an iconic building built in 1864. It has 2 rooms. The upstairs room is used by Muker Silver Band, which has been at the heart of the community for well over 100 years. The smaller lower room houses an exhibition of historic photos and artifacts. Perched on top of the building in the centre of Muker is the Yorkshire Dales emblem, the Swaledale Ram. The drive in the Yorkshire Dale continues, photographing old stone bridges and other places of interest. Heading west, and then we'll be turning south over Buttertubs Pass to the Fairy Glen Bridge, and from there we're going to go to Gale. I'm now driving south on the Cliff Gate Road, better known as Buttertubs Pass. There are many high roads and passes in the Yorkshire Dales with fantastic views of the surrounding valleys and fells, but perhaps the best known is Buttertubs Pass. On the right is the high point of the pass. A millennium cairn and a memorial bench have been placed there. I'm now approaching the Buttertubs. I'll stop here and take some photographs. Buttertubs. The name came from the 20-metre deep limestone potholes which the road passes. Rumour has it that the name came from the time when farmers would rest there en route to the market in Hawes. They would lower the butter they had produced for sale into the potholes to keep it cool. Driving on to the next photographic location, which is going to be the Fairy Glen Packhorse Bridge, just outside Hawes. The road is locally noted as a challenging cycle climb and featured in the 2014 Tour de France. The Buttertubs Pass is a high road climbing from Thwaites in Swaledale to Simonstone near Hardrow and Hawes in Wensleydale. The road winds its way for 6 miles. TV presenter Jeremiah Clarkson described it as England's only true spectacular road. Simonstone, this is where the Buttertubs starts or finish, depends on the direction of travel. This is where I'm going to park the car and walk across the field to the next photographic location, the Fairy Glen Packhorse Bridge. I've made the short distance across the fields and I'm here at the Fairy Glen Packhorse Bridge. This old Packhorse Bridge was part of the route used by Lady Anne Clifford as she frequently travelled from Skipton to Penrith 450 years ago to inspect her castles. The footpath, Sedbus to Hawes, crosses this medieval Packhorse Bridge below Cowl Pasture Barn. Making my way across the bridge, it's had some use over the years, you can tell by the way the stones have been worn away. A view of the bridge from the other side of the stream. The drive continues to the final location, but before we get there, we're going to drive through Hawes, then on to Gale. Hawes, a magical little market town, is one of England's highest. Set 850 feet above seawater, Hawes was first recorded as a marketplace in 1307, and the lively Tuesday market still entices shoppers in. Home to the world-famous Wensleydale cheese and set amidst breathtaking scenery, it's no surprise Hawes is one of the honeypot tourist attractions of the Yorkshire Dales National Park. The name Hawes means pass between mountains, and it stands between the stunning Buttertubs and Fleet Moss. This is where I'm going to park and get out of the car and have a look around this final destination, which is the old stone bridge. I'm standing on the old stone bridge at Gale. The bridge spans the Gale beck. I'm looking upstream. I'm now looking at another place of interest, Gale Mill. The mill was constructed in 1780 and is now a Grade II listed building, a scheduled monument, and it came third in the BBC's 2004 restoration contest. Originally a cotton spinning mill, it was converted to a sawmill in 1878. It is the oldest strictly unaltered cotton mill in existence, and its Thomas double vortex turbine built by Williamsons of Kendal in 1878 is believed to be the world's oldest surviving water turbine still in its original situation. The mill has been restored and is now open to the public. The Gale Weir controls the water level supply to the Gale mill via the aqueduct which starts below the telephone kiosk behind the sign. The second part of the Yorkshire Dales drive, photographing old stone bridges and other places of interest, started at Gunnerside in Swaledale. The journey continued to the iconic Ivalet Bridge and the Coffin Stone. The village of Muker was the next stop. It was too late to see the flowers in the meadows, but the Swaledale sheep is still perched on the roof of the gallery. Driving west for a short distance, then turning south onto Buttertubs Pass. The next point of interest was the Buttertubs. Continuing on from Buttertubs, the sheep on the road provided some anxious moments, not knowing which way they would turn and run. However, the anxiety was short. The footpath to the fair Glen Packhorse bridge outside Hawes was dry on this occasion. The photographic drive through the Yorkshire Dales ended at Gale Bridge and the ancient and restored Gale Mill.